Let the rain stay steady in the background. You can settle into whatever position feels easiest. If the volume is a little high, you can lower it. If the screen light is on, you can let it be dim. Nothing surprising will happen here. Nothing dramatic will happen. We will move slowly, and we will keep the pacing slow and steady. Tonight we will spend time with a chair. Just a chair, in a home, doing its quiet work. We will stay with plain details. We will notice where a chair usually rests. We will notice how it is held and touched. We will notice how it is pulled out and pushed back in. And then we will let those details repeat in a calm way. A chair is a freestanding household object designed to support one person in a seated position at a practical height above the floor. That is all we need to know at the start. A chair is there for sitting. It supports, and then it rests. In many homes, a chair is in the dining area, or in the kitchen, near a table. A chair can also be in a desk area, facing a desk. A chair can sit at the edge of a living room, or in a bedroom corner. A chair can be in a hallway, or near an entryway. This may vary, but the chair still has a usual spot, a spot where it often returns. When you touch a chair, the hands often touch the top edge, or the side edges, to pull it out. Sometimes it is lifted a little, and sometimes it is slid with small friction sounds. Then it is set down, with its weight returning to the floor. These are small movements, and they are predictable. We will stay with them, and the pace will remain slow and steady. Chapter 1. The chair in the room. The chair tends to settle into a familiar position. Its feet meet the floor in the same small pattern each day. Even when the chair is moved, it often returns to a place that feels usual. In a dining area, chairs gather near a table like they belong there. They can line up along the sides of the table. They can sit at the ends. They can be tucked in close, or left slightly pulled out. This may vary. But even when they are not perfectly aligned, the room still recognizes them as a set of places to sit. The space around the chair becomes part of its daily shape. The chair can sit close to a table edge, or a little farther away. The chair can sit close to a wall, or with a small gap. This may vary. In a row of chairs, small alignment changes are noticed. A chair may be turned slightly, then turned back. The chair can face slightly away from the table and still be put away. These are small differences, and they settle into habit. In a kitchen, a chair can be close to a small table, or close to a counter. It may be the chair that is used briefly, many times a day. Or it may be the chair that is sat in for longer stretches. This is not always the same. In a desk area, a chair faces the desk. The chair may be nudged forward and turned slightly until it lines up. This small alignment becomes familiar. The chair has a footprint, the area it takes on the floor. That footprint becomes part of how the room flows. It affects the passageways. It affects how close the chair sits to a wall, or to a table leg. It affects how easy it is to walk past without brushing a shin. A chair can sit near the living room edge. It can be a place for occasional use. Sometimes a chair is kept in a corner as an accent chair. It may be used less often. It may hold occasional items. This may vary, but it still stays present. It still takes up a steady amount of space. A chair can be in a bedroom corner. It can be a quiet place where clothing rests over the back for a while. The chair holds it without comment. It can be a temporary holding place for a bag. Then the bag is lifted away later. The chair becomes only a chair again. When the room is quiet, the chair is still. It does not ask for attention. The underside is cleaned less often than the visible surfaces. This may vary. Dust settles on the top edges first. The chair can look clean while still holding grit on floor contact points. This may vary. These are ordinary details, and they do not change the chair's purpose. If the chair is slightly moved, the change is small. A chair can be gently repositioned without being lifted, or it can be lifted a little and set down again. The chair returns to the floor and becomes quiet again. Recap: the chair is there, in its place, doing very little. Now we can move on. Chapter 2: Simple definition, simple purpose. A chair is made for sitting, and it stays ready for that. It supports one person. It holds that person at a useful height above the floor. The purpose is steady, even when the chair is not being used. A chair has stability, the tendency to remain steady without tipping. Stability matters because small wobbles are noticed even in quiet rooms. When a chair feels steady, the body relaxes into it. When a chair wobbles, attention is pulled toward it. This is not always the same. But the idea of steadiness is part of what a chair offers. A chair has a sitting surface that holds weight. That is the seat. The seat can be plain and firm, or it can have cushioning. Cushioning is a soft layer on the sitting surface when it is present. Some chairs have upholstery. Upholstery is a fabric or similar covering when it is present. These details may vary, but the chair remains a chair either way. Many chairs have a back support. The back support guides posture in a simple way. The back support has a back angle, the tilt of the back support relative to the seat. It also has back height, how high the back support reaches. These are quiet differences that the body can feel over time. Some chairs have arms. An armchair has arms that support the elbows. This can change how the chair approaches a table and how it feels to sit. This may vary, but the basic idea remains: a chair supports one person sitting. In homes, chairs have common names that match common uses. A dining chair is used for meals at a table. A side chair is used as extra seating. A lounge chair is used for a lower posture and relaxed sitting. An office chair or task chair is used for desk work. A folding chair stores flat. A stacking chair stores by placing chairs on top of each other. A rocking chair offers gentle movement. A patio chair is used near a door or balcony area. An accent chair is used occasionally, often kept in a corner. These names can overlap, and they can change from home to home. This may vary. Even when styles change, the purpose stays similar. The chair supports, and then it rests. The chair remains available. It is a repeatable household tool, used in the same simple ways, again and again. Recap: it supports, and then it rests. Another small detail is Chapter 3: The chair's size in calm measurements. A chair has a size that quietly matches the room. The body learns this size without much thinking. It learns where the seat meets the legs. It learns how the feet meet the floor. Seat height is the distance from the floor to the sitting surface. Most adult home chairs have a seat height of about 40 to 50 centimeters. This may vary. Seat height matters because feet placement and knee bend affect how steady sitting feels. Seat depth is the front to back distance of the sitting surface. Many home chairs have a depth of about 40 to 70 centimeters. This may vary. Seat depth changes how much thigh support is felt. Seat width is the side-to-side space on the sitting surface. Many home chairs have a width of about 40 to 70 centimeters. This may vary. Some chairs are wider for cushioned or armed styles. This may vary. A chair also has an overall height. Many home chairs are about 75 to 110 centimeters tall. This may vary with back height. Back height changes where support is felt along the spine and shoulders. This is not always the same. The chair's footprint is the area the chair takes on the floor. Footprint matters because it affects spacing at tables and passageways. A chair can be pulled out a little and the footprint changes. Then it can be pushed in again. A chair also has weight, how heavy it is to move. A chair also has a center of mass, where the chair's weight is concentrated. These details change how the chair lifts, slides, and resists tipping. Tables set expectations for chair size. If a chair has arms, it may fit differently under some tables. This may vary. When chairs are matched, small differences still appear with use. This may vary. Two chairs can look similar and still feel different. A small change in height or depth becomes noticeable over time. This is not always the same. One chair can become the default chair without anyone deciding it. The body remembers that chair's feel and returns to it. The chair's size becomes familiar in a quiet way. Recap: the chair has a size, and the body learns it. Now we can move on. Chapter 4: Materials seen and felt, without haste. A chair's material shows itself through touch. It shows itself through how easily a cloth moves across the surface, and how small marks show or do not show. A common chair material is wood, solid wood or engineered wood. Wood often shows grain, the visible lines in wood. With a surface finish, the surface can feel smooth, or it can feel slightly textured where grain rises. This may vary. Wood can feel slightly warmer to the touch than metal. This is not always the same. Wood has porosity that varies. Porosity is how much a material absorbs liquid and odors. Unfinished wood absorbs more. Finished wood absorbs less. This may vary. Another common chair material is metal, such as steel or aluminum. Steel can be heavier, and aluminum can be lighter. This may vary. Metal often feels cool at first contact. That is part of heat transfer, how quickly a surface feels cool or warm. Metal can transmit small sounds through the frame when dragged or bumped. Another common chair material is plastic, made from mold polymers. Plastic often feels smooth and consistent under the hand. Plastic chairs can be light to lift and easy to reposition. Plastic can flex under load. Gentle flex can feel comfortable. Too much flex can feel uncertain. This may vary. Some chairs have upholstery when fabric surfaces are present. Fabric can hold dust. Fabric can absorb spills more easily than sealed surfaces. This may vary. Fabric can have odor retention, how long smells remain after contact with food, smoke, or damp cloths. This may vary. Fabric also has breathability, how easily air passes through a surface. This may vary. Surface finish matters for daily life. A matte surface reflects little light. A gloss surface reflects more light. This may vary. Texture is the felt quality of the surface, smooth or lightly patterned. Texture can hide smears but hold dust. This may vary. Across all these materials, the chair remains the same kind of object. It supports, and then it rests. Recap: the material is touched, and it is noticed quietly. Next we can look at movement. Chapter 5: Quiet movements. Pull, slide, set down. A chair is moved in small ways, not big ways. It is moved a short distance, many times. The same hand reaches for the same edge. The same path repeats on the floor. These movements become part of the home's routine. Often, the chair is approached and turned slightly if needed. That small turn helps with alignment. Alignment is how straight the chair sits and faces. When chairs are arranged in lines, small misalignment is noticed. A chair is nudged, and it looks straight again. This is a quiet correction. Hands often touch the top edge or side edges to pull the chair out. The edges receive most touch contact over time. The edges are also wiped often. Edge radius, how rounded the edges feel to the touch, matters in daily use. A rounded edge can feel softer against hands and thighs. This may vary. A sharper edge can feel more noticeable. This may vary. After the hand touches the edge, the chair shifts. It may slide with friction on the floor. Friction is resistance when sliding on the floor. Friction matters because it changes noise, effort, and floor wear. A chair can move with a small friction sound. The sound happens, then it stops. And the chair becomes still again. Sometimes the chair is lifted a little. It can be lifted to clear a rug edge, or lifted to avoid dragging on a hard floor. This may vary. Even lifting is often a small lift. A small lift, and then a small set down. When it is set down, its weight returns to the floor. The chair becomes quiet again. The sound of setting a chair down is familiar in a home. When the chair is pushed under a table for storage, the movement is simple. It is pushed in. It slides. It stops. Sometimes it lightly touches the underside edge, and then stops. This may vary. The chair can face slightly away from the table and still be put away. It can be close enough that the room looks tidy. This may vary. Some chairs are stacking chairs. Stacking is placing chairs on top of each other. Stacking changes storage space and increases surface rubbing over time. This may vary. Some chairs are folding chairs. Folding is collapsing the chair into a flatter shape. Folding adds hinges and moving points, and those points add wear patterns and cleaning spots. This may vary. Even with these differences, the daily movement stays calm. The chair is pulled out and pushed back in. It is moved, and then it rests. Recap: it is pulled out and pushed back in. Now we can move on. Chapter 6: The chair's place in morning routines. In the morning, chairs are often used in short stretches. A chair is pulled back. It slides a short distance. It stops near the table edge. Then it is pushed in again. It returns to its usual angle. The room stays mostly the same. A breakfast pause can be simple. The chair holds weight briefly. Then it rests again. The chair supports, and then it rests. It is a small cycle, and it can repeat every day. Some mornings include a desk routine. A chair is nudged forward. It is turned slightly. It lines up with the desk. The chair settles into alignment. Then it stays there for a while. This may vary. In some homes, a chair is used for a quick sit while putting on shoes. The chair is near an entryway, or in a hallway, or in a bedroom corner. This may vary. It supports one person for a short moment. Then the person stands, and the chair is quiet again. Another morning routine is the bag placement habit. A bag is placed on the chair. The chair becomes temporary storage. The bag is lifted away later. Then the chair remains. The chair does not change, it simply holds what is placed on it. Clothing can rest over the chair for a while. This is the clothing drape habit. Clothing rests over the back support. It stays there quietly. Then it is removed. The chair becomes only a chair again. Some mornings include routine straightening. Someone aligns chairs by sight. Small rotations are corrected. A chair is pushed in a little. A chair that is slightly out becomes part of a tidy reset. The room looks neat again. This may vary. In some homes, one chair stays in a corner. It holds occasional items. It is rarely moved. This is the corner chair routine. This may vary. It can become a spare chair, used mostly when someone visits. A chair can also shift nearer to light. It can stay there for a day or two. This may vary. Chairs can move away from heaters or windows and settle into new spacing. This is not always the same. These changes are still small and still quiet. Sometimes a chair slowly migrates. It ends up in another room. It stays there for weeks. This may vary. Then, later, it may return. The chair's role remains simple through all these routines. Recap: the chair helps, and then it waits again. Another small detail is Chapter 7: the chair's place in evening routines. In the evening, chairs are often used more slowly. Dinner chairs hold weight longer. They stay in place until the meal ends. The room can be quiet, and the chair can feel steady under load. Load is the weight placed on the chair during use. Repeated loading is part of everyday life for a chair. During a meal, there can be gentle shifting. A person shifts weight. The chair responds. A small sound may happen at a contact point. Then the sound stops. A squeak is a small sound from movement at a contact point. A squeak can appear gradually and then become familiar. This may vary. A chair can be stable and still make small sounds. This may vary. After a meal, chairs return toward the table. A small push and a small slide. The chair moves back into a neater line. Someone may align chairs by sight. Small rotations are corrected. A chair that is slightly out becomes straight again. This may vary. Sometimes one chair remains slightly pulled out most days. This may vary. But the room can still feel settled. Evening routines can include quick cleaning. A cloth moves across the table surface. Then the cloth may brush a chair edge. The chair's edges receive most touch contact over time. They also receive white contact over time. A chair's finish changes slowly where fingers rest. This may vary. Small marks can appear in slow ways. A scratch is a surface line from rubbing or grit. A scuff is a dull mark from repeated contact. A chair can show these marks in the same places where hands and legs brush. This may vary. A chair can look clean while still holding grit on floor contact points. This may vary. Some evenings include visitor patterns. Chairs are gathered. They form a temporary circle. Later they return to separate places. If a folding chair is used, it can be stored flat again. If a stacking chair is used, it can be placed on top of another chair for storage. This may vary. The movement stays calm either way. There are also small moments of misuse in a home. Sometimes the chair is leaned back on 2 legs. Then it returns to 4 legs again. This may vary. These moments are brief. The chair is still the chair afterward. At the end of the night, there can be an end-of-night push-in. The chair is pushed under the table. It lightly touches the underside edge, and it stops. This may vary. Then the chair becomes still again. It waits in the same way it waited earlier. ready to support, and then rest. Recap: the chair returns to its line. Now we can move on. Chapter 8: Gradual History in Small Steps. The history of chairs tends to move in small adjustments. Materials shift, and shapes shift, and costs shift. The chair remains a seat. It remains a one-person support at a practical height above the floor. In early times, seating exists as simple raised surfaces, like early stools and simple seats. This may vary. Later, benches and chairs separate in use. Chairs become more clearly one-person objects. This change helps with space organization and personal use patterns. Before industrial production, heavier wood joinery becomes common. More stable frames appear using joints rather than only simple lashings. A joint is where parts meet, such as glued or fastened connections. Joints quietly decide how long the chair stays firm. In workshop eras, carved and turned parts spread. Similar chair shapes repeat within regions. This may vary. In the 19th century, steam bending and bentwood chairs appear. This may vary. Curved wood parts become easier to repeat in volume. This may vary. In the late 19th to early 20th, industrial fasteners and metal parts increase. Screws, bolts, and brackets become common. A fastener is a screw, bolt, or similar connector. Fasteners can loosen in small steps and create small noises. This may vary. In the early to mid-20th, tubular steel and metal frames appear in homes. This may vary. In the mid-20th, plywood and laminated parts become normal. This may vary. In the mid to late 20th, mold plastic chairs spread. This may vary. In the late 20th, flat pack and self-assembly becomes common. This may vary. In the late 20th to early 21st, stacking and multi-use forms grow. In recent decades, ergonomic home office chairs increase. This may vary. And material mix becomes typical, with wood, metal, plastic, and fabric combined more often. This may vary. Through all these changes, the chair remains familiar. It is pulled out and pushed back in. It supports, and then it rests. Recap: the chair changes slowly and stays a chair. Next we can look at the floor beneath it. Chapter 9: the chair and the floor beneath it. The chair meets the floor in a simple way. Often it meets the floor with a set of contact points. The chair stands, and the floor holds it. The floor tells the chair how it will move. On a hard floor, the chair can slide with a small scraping sound. A small sound happens. Then it stops. The chair becomes still again. This is not always the same. Some chairs move more quietly, and some move more loudly. This may vary. Friction changes the experience. Friction is resistance when sliding on the floor. More friction can mean more effort and more sound. Less friction can mean easier sliding. This may vary. On a rug, the chair can drag more softly. The movement can feel slower. The sound can be reduced. This may vary. A chair may be lifted a little to clear a rug edge. Then it is set down again. A small lift and a small set down. The chair returns to the floor and becomes quiet again. Small protective parts can change floor contact. Floor protection is pads or surfaces that reduce scratching on floors. Floor pads can make sliding quieter. They can also change how the chair feels when pulled out and pushed in. A pad can be noticed missing. The chair is lifted. A replacement pad is pressed on. Then the chair is set down again. This is a small action, but it changes daily life. Near the bottom of chair legs, small things collect. Hair can collect there. Grit can collect there. The chair can look clean while still holding grit on floor contact points. This may vary. Those small bits can change friction. They can change noise. They can also change how the chair sits on the floor. This may vary. The chair can feel different depending on the floor under it. This may vary. A chair can slide easily on one surface and drag on another. A chair can sound different in different rooms. A chair can also show wear near the legs. A chair's legs can show wear even when the seat looks fine. This may vary. Leg scuffs can build in the same places where shoes and cleaning tools brush. This may vary. Wobble is uneven rocking on the floor. Wobble is felt immediately when sitting and when setting objects down nearby. Wobble can come from uneven leg contact. This may vary. A chair can also be stable and still make small sounds. A squeak is a small sound from movement at a contact point. A squeak can appear gradually. It can become part of the room's routine. This may vary. Repeated movement marks can appear. Chairs are pulled out and pushed in. The same paths repeat. This may vary. The floor and the chair share this slow pattern. The chair meets the floor, and the floor answers back. Then both become quiet again. Recap: the chair meets the floor, and the floor answers back. Now we can move on. Chapter 10: The chair as quiet household infrastructure. A chair is part of the home's basic setup. It does not usually change often. It becomes background support for many small events. The chair is there, and it stays there. A chair supports meals. A dining chair fits table height and a simple footprint. It often slides under a table when not in use. It is pulled out and pushed back in. It supports, and then it rests. A chair supports work. An office chair or task chair stays near a desk. It is nudged forward and turned slightly until it lines up. This may vary. Some chairs stay at the desk most of the time. Some chairs move room to room. This may vary. A chair supports visitors. Chairs are gathered. They form a temporary circle. Later they return to separate places. Chapter 12: Starting with raw material. A chair begins as raw material, and raw material has simple properties. It has weight. It has stiffness. It has surface behavior. These properties guide what the chair will feel like later. Before shaping begins, material is checked. Moisture is measured. Thickness is observed. The chair starts with quiet numbers. Wood often begins as boards. Boards are stacked and stored. They wait in a calm way. Wood has moisture content. Moisture content is how much water is inside the wood. Moisture is measured before the next steps. If the moisture content is not right, the wood can shift later. That can change alignment. That can change how steady the chair feels. This may vary, but the check is calm and ordinary. Boards can show small flaws. There can be a small knot. There can be a small change in grain. There can be a small mark. Small flaws are normal. Some flaws are acceptable. Some are not used for a chair part that needs a clean surface. This is not always the same. But the idea is quiet. Look, decide, set aside, move on. Wood is also stored so it stays usable. Boards rest flat. Boards are kept from bending. This may vary. The goal is simple. Keep the material steady before it becomes a chair. Keep the next steps predictable. A chair begins with calm attention to what is already there. Metal often begins as tubes or bars. The metal is chosen for consistent thickness. Consistent thickness is important. If thickness changes too much, the parts do not match. Then the chair can feel uneven. Then the chair can wobble. This may vary, but the goal is predictable parts. Metal parts are stored in stacks or racks. They rest in straight lines. They wait until they are needed. Small surface marks can happen during storage. Small marks can be normal. This is not always the same. But the material is still usable. It can still become part of a stable frame. Plastic often begins as resin. Plastic resin can be in controlled batches. Controlled batches help consistency. Consistency matters for chairs. A chair is touched daily. A chair is moved daily. A chair is loaded daily. If the plastic is not consistent, the feel can change. This may vary, but the aim is steady, repeatable material. Plastic material is stored and conditioned. Conditioning is letting material reach a stable state before making parts. Material storage and conditioning are quiet steps. They are not dramatic. They are just part of making something predictable. The material is kept ready. Then it is brought forward for the next step. A small check, then the next step. Across wood, metal, and plastic, the calm goal is the same. The material is checked. Small flaws are noticed. Consistency is protected. A chair begins as simple material, and then it is prepared for the next step. Recap: measured, then prepared. Now we can move on. Chapter 13: Cutting and Shaping. After raw material is prepared, parts are cut to size. Cutting is a calm reduction of material. A longer piece becomes a shorter piece. A wide piece becomes a piece that fits the plan. Cutting parts to length helps the chair become repeatable. Parts that match are easier to join later. That makes the chair steadier later. Cutting can be repeated many times. The same length is cut again. The same length is cut again. This is not always the same. But repetition is part of the work. The chair is built from parts that can be repeated. After cutting, edges are often smoothed. Smoothing edges after cutting makes the part safer to handle. It also makes later fitting more predictable. A rough edge becomes a smoother edge. A sharp corner becomes a softer corner. This may vary, but the direction is the same. Make the part calm to touch and calm to assemble. Wood parts can be milled. Milling wood is making faces more consistent. It helps parts meet cleanly. It helps joints fit. Milling can also help the wood look uniform. It reduces small uneven spots. This is not always the same, but the purpose is practical. Metal parts can be bent to planned angles. Bending metal to planned angles makes the frame shape appear. An angle becomes predictable. A curve becomes repeatable. The part begins to look like it belongs to a chair. This may vary, but shaping happens slowly and with checks. A bend is made, then it is compared to the plan. A bend is made, then it is compared again. Plastic parts follow molding plans. Molding plans for plastic shapes decide the final surface and shape. A chair seat can be molded as a single shape. A chair back can be molded as a single shape. This may vary, but molding is about making the same shape again and again. That is how consistency grows. During cutting and shaping, small tool marks can appear. A tool mark is a small trace left by a tool. Small tool marks are normal. They can be removed later during surface preparation. This may vary. Metal can also have small burrs. A burr is a small rough edge after cutting. Burrs are removed so parts fit and feel clean. This is a quiet step, but it matters in daily touch. Parts are checked against templates. A template is a reference shape or reference size. Checking parts against templates keeps the chair consistent. It prevents drift. It prevents small mismatches from becoming larger. A part that is slightly off can cause twist. A part that is slightly off can cause wobble. So the check happens early. A small check, then the next step. Cutting and shaping are patient steps. They create parts that can later meet and hold. They create angles that can later align. They create edges that can later feel smooth. The chair's future form appears slowly, piece by piece. Recap: cut, shaped, checked. Another small detail is Chapter 14, joining into a stable frame. The chair becomes more like a chair when parts join. Joining is where parts meet and hold. Joints are the main long-term story. A joint is where two parts connect. A chair can have many joints. Each joint has a quiet job. Hold steady, resist wobble, resist twist. Some chairs use glue. When glue is used, glue curing time matters. Curing time is the time it takes for glue to become stable. During curing time, the chair frame is kept still. This may vary, but the calm idea is the same. Let the joint settle before stress is added. Some chairs use screws and bolts. Screws and bolts hold parts together through fasteners. Fasteners can be tightened and checked. This is not always the same. Some chairs use more fasteners, some use fewer. But the goal is a firm connection. Some chairs use welds. A weld is a joined connection in metal. Welds can create strong continuous connections. This may vary. Welds also need inspection. A weld can be smooth or rough. It can be clean or show small marks. This may vary, but it is checked for stability. Alignment matters during joining. Parts are aligned on flat surfaces. A flat surface helps reveal twist. Twist is when a frame is not level. Twist can become wobble. Wobble is uneven rocking on the floor. A few millimeters decide wobble. So alignment is checked calmly. During joining, the frame is often pressed and held. It is held so parts stay in place while they become one frame. Then small checks happen again. The frame is checked for alignment. The frame is checked for steadiness. The frame is checked for wobble. This may vary, but the aim is practical. Prevent daily annoyance later. If a small wobble is found, small corrections are made before finishing. A small correction now is easier than a large correction later. This may vary. The sequence stays steady. Join, align, check, adjust. Then check again. Then move on. The chair frame begins to carry load. Load is the weight placed on the chair during use. Even before a person sits, the frame is treated like it will carry load. Because it will. The chair must be ready for repeated loading. Repeated loading is daily life. So the joining step is careful, not rushed. In the joining step, the chair becomes a stable shape. It becomes something that can stand on its own. It is not finished yet, but it is steady enough to be handled. It is steady enough to be checked again. The calm work continues, and the frame becomes ready for the surfaces people touch. Recap: joined, aligned, steady. Now we can move on. Chapter 15: The sitting surface and support surface. After the frame is stable, attention returns to the surfaces people feel. The sitting surface is the seat. The support surface is the back support. These contact surfaces are where daily use concentrates. They are shaped for comfort and steadiness. They hold weight without complaint. Seat surface stiffness matters. Stiffness is how much a surface resists bending. A chair can be very stiff, or it can have a little flex. A small flex can be acceptable. Too much flex changes confidence. This may vary. So the seat is pressed, tested, and adjusted. A small check, then the next step. Comfort is not only softness. Comfort can be steadiness. Comfort can be the way weight spreads. Comfort can be the way the edge feels under the legs. This is not always the same. But chairs are made with these daily feelings in mind. The chair does not need to feel special. It needs to feel reliable. It needs to feel the same each time a person sits down. Back support placement matters. Placement is where the back support sits relative to the seat. Back support angle matters too. Back angle is the tilt of the back support relative to the seat. A more upright back guides posture one way. A more relaxed back guides posture another way. This may vary, but the angle is chosen with intention. And then it is checked again. The back support is touched, pressed, and observed for movement. Thickness affects flex. A thicker part can flex less. A thinner part can flex more. This may vary. The thickness is chosen so the chair feels steady under load. Load is felt mostly through the seat, but it also moves through the frame. So the seat and back connect in ways that matter. Contour can change pressure feel. Contour is the shape curve of a surface. A flat seat feels one way. A shaped seat feels another way. This may vary. Pressure feel is how weight is sensed on the surface. Small changes in contour can change how the surface feels during long use. So shaping is checked. Hands can run across the surface. A person can press down and feel response. Pressed, tested, steadied. Attachment points can become future creaks. An attachment point is where a seat or back connects to the frame. If movement is possible at an attachment point, sound can appear. A creak is a small sound from movement at a contact point. Some movement is normal. Some movement becomes a daily sound. This may vary. So the chair is checked for movement under load. The chair is pressed in a calm way. Pressure is applied. Then released. Then applied again. When the seat and back are right, the chair becomes ready. Not ready for attention. Ready for routine. Ready to be pulled out and pushed back in. Ready to support one person and then rest again. Recap: pressed, tested, steadied. Next we can look at the surface itself. Chapter 16: Surface Preparation and Edge Feel. Before final finishing, surfaces are prepared. Surface preparation is patient work. It is quiet work. It changes how the chair feels to touch. It changes how the finish will sit. It changes how marks will show later. Sanding is part of preparation. Sanding is smoothing a surface with repeated rubbing. Sanding removes small tool marks. Sanding softens small uneven spots. This may vary, but sanding helps the chair feel calmer under the hand. Deburring is also part of preparation. Deburring is removing small burrs from metal edges. A burr is a small rough edge after cutting. Removing burrs keeps parts from scraping hands. It also helps parts fit cleanly. This is a small step, but it changes daily touch. Edge rounding matters. Edge rounding is making an edge less sharp. A chair is touched more than it is examined. So edges matter. A rounded edge becomes part of daily comfort. The hand grabs an edge when pulling a chair out. The leg brushes an edge when sitting down. The cloth wipes an edge during cleaning. So the edge is shaped to be calm to touch. Dust and oils are removed. Removing dust and oils helps coatings sit evenly. Coatings are layers that cover and protect the surface. If dust stays, the finish can trap it. If oils stay, the finish can spread unevenly. This may vary. So the surface is cleaned before finishing. Smoothed, cleaned, ready. Small scratches are watched for. A scratch that is left before finish can become permanent. Under finish, a scratch can stand out. So small scratches are removed early. This is not always the same. Some surfaces hide scratches, some show them. But the check happens. A small mark is found, then removed. A small mark is found, then removed. Hands are used as well as eyes. A hand can feel what eyes do not notice. A small ridge. A small rough spot. A tiny burr. A hand finds it quickly. Then a small correction is made. It is patient and calm. A small check, then the next step. Surface preparation looks like repetition. Rub, check, rub again. Wipe, check, wipe again. It is not meant to impress. It is meant to make the chair calm in daily use. It is meant to make the chair calm when a hand rests on the edge. It is meant to make wiping feel simple and steady. Recap: smoothed, cleaned, ready. Now we can move on. Chapter 17: Finishing and Protection. After preparation, finish is applied. A finish adds a protective layer. It changes how the chair resists water and oils. It changes how a cloth glides across the surface. It also changes appearance in a simple way. A chair can be finished with paint. A chair can be finished with stain. A chair can be finished with clear coat. A chair can be finished with powder coat. This may vary. The choice depends on the material and the intended use. Different finishes can still serve the same calm purpose. Protection, wiping, steadiness over time. Finishes exist for practical reasons. They help with wiping. They help with protection. They can change how marks show. They can also change how the chair feels under the hand. A finish can feel smooth. A finish can feel slightly textured. This may vary. After finish is applied, cure time matters. Cure time is the time it takes for the finish to become stable. During cure time, the chair is handled gently. Handling time is the time before it can be moved without marking the finish. This may vary, but time passes quietly. The chair rests while it cures. Then it is touched again, and it feels more stable. Finish can show imperfections. A thin spot is an area where the finish layer is too thin. A run is an area where the finish gathers and flows. These can happen. This may vary. So the finish is checked. Thin spots are noticed. Runs are noticed. Small dust bits can be noticed too. Because dust is always present in the world. This is not always the same. But checking is part of the calm process. The finish is not only looked at. It is also felt. A hand can feel a rough patch. A hand can feel a small bump. This may vary. If it needs attention, it is corrected before the chair moves forward. A small correction, then the next step. Finish affects cleaning later. A protective finish can resist moisture more. A protective finish can resist oils more. This may vary. A finish can also show fingerprints more or less. This may vary. But the main idea is simple. A finish helps the chair survive daily use. Daily use includes wiping. Daily use includes contact from hands. Daily use includes contact from clothing. Daily use includes small bumps. So the finish is meant to protect. After finish and cure, the chair feels more complete. The surface feels more consistent. The hand glides across it more evenly. A cloth glides across it more evenly. The chair becomes ready to meet real daily life. Recap: coated, cured, checked. Another small detail is Chapter 18, Floor Interface Details. A chair meets the floor through small contact points. These points decide noise, drag, and floor marks. A chair can feel quiet or loud depending on these small parts. A chair can feel smooth or rough when moving. These floor interface details are quiet helpers. Pads and glides are common. A pad can be a small soft piece on the bottom of a leg. A glide can help the chair slide more easily. This may vary. Pads and glides reduce scratching on floors. They can reduce scraping sounds. They can change daily movement in a calm way. Metal legs can have caps. A cap covers the end of a metal leg. Caps protect the floor. Caps also protect the leg end from damage. This may vary, but the idea is simple. A small part, a big daily effect. Some chairs have casters. Casters are small wheels for rolling chairs. Casters are present on some rolling chairs. This may vary. When casters are present, movement changes. Instead of sliding, the chair rolls. Rolling can be quiet or noisy depending on the floor. This may vary, but the chair still meets the floor through contact points. How small parts affect daily sound becomes clear over time. A pad can make a chair quieter. A missing pad can make a chair louder. A cap can soften contact. A loose cap can change the feel. This may vary. The difference is often small, but it repeats every day, so it becomes noticeable. Grit collects at the bottom. Hair can collect there. Dust can collect there. Small grit can stick to pads. This may vary. That grit can increase scratching. It can increase noise. It can increase drag. So the bottom is checked sometimes. A chair can look clean while still holding grit at the bottom. This may vary. A small cleaning at the bottom can change the daily experience. Secure fit is checked. Pads must be attached. Caps must be seated. Casters must be secure. This may vary. If a pad is loose, it can fall off. If a pad is missing, sound and drag change. A missing pad changes the whole daily movement pattern. So the chair is checked for these small parts. Floor interface parts are easy to ignore until they fail. Then they become suddenly noticeable. So it is better when they are quietly secure. The chair glides the same way each day. The chair sounds the same way each day. It stays predictable. A small part supports that predictability. Recap: a small part, a big daily effect. Now we can move on. Chapter 19, Design Decisions Users Feel but do not name. Many design decisions are felt through routine. Pulling out the chair. Sitting down. Standing up again. The chair teaches a pattern. The user learns without thinking. The body remembers. Seat height is a daily standard. Seat height decides where the feet meet the floor. Seat height decides how the knees bend. This may vary, but the chair's seat height becomes familiar. It becomes part of the daily movement of sitting and standing. The body expects it. The body meets it the same way each time. Seat depth is a quiet comfort factor. Depth changes how much support is felt under the thighs. Depth changes how far back a person settles. This may vary. A deeper seat can feel different than a shallower seat. The difference becomes known by the body, not by words, just by repeated use. Back angle is a posture guide. Back angle is the tilt of the back support relative to the seat. A more upright angle guides one posture. A more relaxed angle guides another. This may vary. The body adapts. The body learns where to rest. The body learns how much support is offered. The chair becomes the background shape that the body recognizes. Weight is a movement cost. A heavier chair asks for more effort when moving. A lighter chair is easier to move. This may vary, but weight changes daily habits. A heavy chair is moved less often. A light chair is moved more easily. This is not always the same, but the pattern is common. Edge radius is touch comfort. Edge radius is how rounded an edge feels. A rounded edge feels softer under the hand. It feels calmer against legs. This may vary. A sharper edge is more noticeable. This may vary. These are small things, but they are felt daily. They shape small moments of contact without being named. Finish is a cleaning habit setter. A finish that wipes easily encourages wiping. A finish that shows marks can encourage more frequent wiping. This may vary. Texture can hide small smears but hold dust. This may vary. A chair's finish quietly shapes how it is cared for. It also shapes how often a chair looks freshly wiped. This may vary. Stability is a background requirement. Stability is the tendency to remain steady without tipping. Stability is often noticed only when it is missing. A small wobble pulls attention. A stable chair fades into the background. This is not always the same. But stability is the calm baseline. Many decisions are trade-offs. Ease of cleaning versus texture. Lightweight versus steadiness. A firm seat versus a flexing seat. This may vary. The chair balances these decisions quietly, and the user feels the balance through daily routine. The chair becomes a pattern the body trusts, not because the body thinks about it, but because the chair repeats the same experience. Recap: chosen, balanced, lived with. Next we can look at the calm checks. Chapter 20: Quality control as calm repetition. Quality checks are repeated steps, done the same way each time. They reduce surprises in the home. They keep the chair predictable. They aim for a calm baseline. Parts can be measured. Length is checked. Thickness is checked. Angles can be checked. This may vary. Measuring parts helps keep chairs consistent. A chair does not need to be perfect to be useful. It needs to be steady, safe, and consistent. Alignment is checked. A frame is placed on a flat surface. Twist is noticed. Wobble is noticed. A few millimeters decide wobble. So the check is calm. If adjustment is needed, it happens before the chair leaves. Finish consistency is checked. A finish is looked at under normal light. Thin spots are noticed. Runs are noticed. This may vary. A hand can also feel the surface. A hand can feel rough spots. A hand can feel dust trapped in finish. This may vary. The chair is checked because daily touch will notice. Fasteners are checked. Screws and bolts can be checked for tightness. Fastener torque can be checked. Torque is how tight a fastener is turned. This may vary, but the goal is the same. A fastener that is too loose can create movement. Movement can create sound. Movement can create wobble. So tightness is confirmed. Packaging completeness can be checked. If the chair includes hardware bags, they are checked. If the chair includes instruction sheets, they are checked. This may vary. Some chairs are fully assembled. Some are not. This may vary. But the aim is to avoid missing parts. Sampling may be used. Not every unit is always checked in the same way. This is not always the same. This may vary. But checks are still part of the CALM system. A small check, then the next step. A small check, then the next step. The repetition is the point. Repeat the check, reduce the surprise. Quality control does not add excitement. It adds predictability. It keeps the chair steady. It keeps the chair safe. It keeps the chair quiet in daily life. Recap, a small check, then the next step. Now we can move on. Chapter 21, Packaging and Shipping Realities. Before a chair meets a home, it often goes through packaging and shipping. Packaging is part of the chair's final condition. A protected edge arrives clean. An unprotected edge arrives marked. So packaging is practical. Edges and corners are protected. Corners are where damage happens easily. Edges are where finish can rub. So protective pieces are used. This may vary, but the purpose is steady. Keep the chair calm through travel. Finishes are kept from rubbing. Rubbing during shipping can create marks. Rubbing can create scuffs. This may vary. So surfaces are separated. Soft layers can be placed between parts. Parts can be wrapped. The chair is stabilized in the box. If the chair requires assembly, hardware bags can be included. Instruction sheets can be included. This may vary. Hardware bags keep small parts together. Instruction sheets guide the steps. This may vary. The idea is to make the final setup predictable. Box size limits matter. Boxes are stacked during storage and shipping. Stacking adds pressure. Pressure can press on corners. Pressure can press on legs and edges. This may vary. So the box is designed to hold weight. It is designed to keep parts from shifting. A box can be lifted, set down, and lifted again. This may vary. The chair inside is meant to stay still. Shipping adds vibration. Vibration is small repeated movement during transport. Vibration can loosen parts if they are not secure. It can also rub surfaces if they are not separated. This may vary. Shipping also adds sudden small impacts. A box can be set down quickly. A box can bump another box. This may vary. So packaging aims to reduce movement inside. Damage patterns from transport are understood. Edges can take hits. Corners can crush. Finishes can rub. This may vary. So packaging tries to protect the same vulnerable areas. Over and over. It is another form of calm repetition. Quick inspections can happen before shipment. A box is checked. A chair is checked for visible issues. This may vary, but the goal is calm delivery. The chair should arrive ready to support one person, ready to be part of a room. Wrapped, boxed, moved, then unboxed, then placed on the floor, then used in daily life. The chair's long calm routine begins. Recap: wrapped, boxed, moved. Another small detail is Chapter 22 Gentle recap loop, material to chair. We can return to raw material. Wood boards resting in stacks. Moisture content measured. Thickness observed. Small flaws noticed. Then the next step. Metal tubes stored in straight lines. Consistent thickness chosen. Then the next step. Plastic resin in controlled batches. Material conditioned. Then the next step. We can return to cutting and shaping. Parts cut to length. Edges smoothed. Wood milled to consistent faces. Metal bent to planned angles. Plastic shaped by molding plans. Small tool marks noticed. Small burrs removed. Templates used for checking. Cut, shaped, checked. We can return to joining. Joints making the long-term story. Glue curing time when glue is used. Screws and bolts when fasteners are used. Welds when welds are used. Alignment checked on flat surfaces. Twist noticed. Wobble noticed. Small corrections made early. Joined, aligned, steady. We can return to contact surfaces. Seat stiffness checked. Small flex accepted when it stays steady. Back support placement and back angle chosen. Thickness guiding flex. Contour guiding pressure feel. Attachment points checked to reduce future creaks. Pressed, tested, steadied. We can return to surface preparation. Sanding and deburring. Edge rounding for touch comfort. Dust and oils removed. Scratches removed early. Hands checking what eyes miss. Smoothed, cleaned, ready. We can return to finishing. Paint, stain, clear coat, or powder coat. Finish adding protection. Finish changing wiping and touch. Cure time passing quietly. Thin spots checked. Runs checked. Coated, cured, checked. We can return to the floor interface. Pads and glides as quiet helpers. Caps on metal legs. Casters when present. Grit collecting at the bottom. Secure fit checked. A small part, a big daily effect. We can return to final checks. Measuring parts. Checking alignment. Checking wobble. Checking finish consistency. Checking fastener tightness and torque. Checking packaging completeness. This may vary, but the calm aim is the same. Reduce surprises in the home. Measured, cut, joined, finished. A small check, then the next step. Measured, cut, joined, finished. A small check, then the next step. Then the chair is ready to be used. Pulled out and pushed back in. Supporting one person. And then resting again. Recap. Measured, cut, joined, finished. Chapter 23. The chair when it is new. When a chair is new, it often feels consistent. It sits flat. It moves as expected. It feels simple and ready. The joints feel tight. The frame feels firm. When you hold the chair at the back support and pull it out, it responds in a clean, predictable way. It shifts a few centimeters, and then it stops. It becomes still again. The surfaces feel clean. The finish looks even. A hand slides along an edge and meets the same feel again and again. This may vary, but early on the chair often has a sense of sameness from one day to the next. There is less of that feeling of rough spots, less of that feeling of surprise. When the chair moves, the movement can feel quiet. There may be little sound when it slides on the floor. It may slide with gentle friction, and then stop. The chair is set down, and it becomes still again. The sound of setting a chair down is familiar in a home. And when the chair is new, it often sounds calm and simple. Floor pads, when present, tend to be intact. The chair meets the floor in balanced contact. The chair feels steady. It does not rock in place when weight settles into it. This may vary, because floors are not always even, and chairs are not always identical. But the first impression is often steady. Then the home adjusts around it. People learn where to grab it. They learn the top edge and the side edges as hand places. They learn how it slides and where it rests. They learn how far it is usually pulled out and how it is usually pushed back in. They learn the chair's footprint near a table or near a desk. Without needing to think about it, the chair becomes part of the room's quiet pattern. A chair often stays in the same place until it is needed, and a new chair takes on that same habit. It rests and waits. It is pulled out and pushed back in. It supports and then it rests. Sometimes one chair remains slightly pulled out most days. This may vary, but the chair still feels like it belongs where it is. Recap: new, steady, simple. Now we can move on. Chapter 24: Cleaning as a gentle cycle. Cleaning is usually small and partial. A quick wipe here, a quick wipe there. Often it is only where hands touch. The chair remains usable either way. This is not always the same, but it is a common pattern. Dust settles on the top edges first, so the first cleaning touch is often near the top. A soft cloth moves across the edge. Dry dusting first is a gentle start. It removes the loose layer without spreading dampness. Then the chair returns to the room and looks a little calmer. For sealed surfaces, a light damp wipe can be used. And then a dry wipe. The damp wipe is brief. The dry wipe follows. Damp, then dry. The chair is cleaned, and it is used again. For sticky residue, a mild soap solution can be used sparingly. Then it is wiped clean. Then it is dried. The chair can be clean and still feel sticky in one spot. This may vary. Sometimes that sticky place returns after it seems gone, and sometimes it does not. This is not always the same. On deeper cleaning days, the chair may be moved. It is lifted slightly or slid aside. Cleaning happens around the legs, and then the chair returns. The same scraping path repeats on the floor. The chair is set down again, and it becomes still. A small cycle, repeated. Often the underside is cleaned less than the visible surfaces. Floor contact areas can be missed. A chair can look clean while still holding grit on floor contact points. This may vary, but it is common enough to notice later. When sound changes or drag changes, a chair can be stable and still make small sounds, and grit can be part of that change. This may vary. Another part of the cycle is drying. Too wet cloths can leave moisture at joints and seams. Long damp contact near joints and floor points can degrade the chair faster. So a calm habit is to wipe and then dry. Damp, then dry. Clean, then dry. Then the chair returns to use again. Sometimes stains or smells come from daily life. Food oils can leave a trace. Sugary drinks can leave residue. Repeated hand oils can build slowly. A chair can be wiped and used again, and then wiped again later. Sometimes damp cloth storage nearby can add a smell. Or a chair stored in a closed damp area can carry a damp smell. This may vary. And if fabric surfaces are present, cooking odors can be held over time. This may vary. Small habits help the chair age calmly. Regular dry wipe cycles. Replacing floor pads early. Tightening fasteners at calm intervals. Using felt or glide replacements when drag changes. These are gentle remedies. They are not urgent. They are just small steps that keep daily movement smooth. A chair can be kept for years with only occasional care. And sometimes the care is more regular. This may vary, but the cycle remains. Wipe, dry, use. Wipe, dry, use. Recap, it is cleaned and it is used again. Another small detail is Chapter 25, the first small marks. The first scratch often appears without drama. It might come from grit and repeated contact. It can be a fine line. It can be noticed only when light hits the surface a certain way. Then attention moves on, and the chair is used again. Small scratches often appear in groups rather than alone. A chair is moved in small distances many times, and contact repeats in the same places. So marks tend to gather where routine gathers. Near the top edge, near the front of the seat, near the legs, near the floor points. The chair collects history in quiet layers. A chair can also get a first scuff near the legs. Leg scuffs and paint wear can come from shoe contact and from small bumps during cleaning. A dull area appears. Then, later, more dull areas can appear in the same zone. This may vary, but early wear often stays in a few places. The chair's edges receive most touch contact over time. Hands reach for the same edge again and again. Over time the finish changes slowly where fingers rest. The first dull patch can appear there. It can look a little more matte or a little more gloss. This may vary, and it is often subtle. A first dent can appear from a small impact. A dropped object can leave a small impression. At first it can look like a small dip. Later it can feel like a slightly rough edge. This may vary. Most dents are only a quiet mark at first, and the chair continues to be used. Sometimes the first watering or swelling shows up. A wet cloth is left on the surface, or a spill sits. A slight raised area can appear. Then it can settle, or stay. This may vary. Dry wiping after damp wiping helps reduce this kind of change. Damp, then dry. A chair can also develop a first small squeak that comes and goes. Squeaks can come from rubbing surfaces at contact points. At first it may happen once, then not again for a while. Then it can return. Sounds can come and go. This is not always the same. Another early change can be a missing floor pad. Floor pad loss can happen as adhesive wear builds. A pad can be missing at one corner. At first it might not be noticed. Then a floor scratch can appear, or noise can increase. Then the missing pad becomes obvious. A small part, a big daily effect. A small mark appears. It is noticed briefly. Then the chair is pulled out and pushed back in. The chair supports, and then it rests. Life continues in the same calm way. Recap: a small mark appears, and life continues. Now we can move on. Chapter 26, Wobble and Sound, slowly introduced. Wobble often begins as a small movement. It is felt more than seen. It shows up during still moments. When someone sits down and notices a tiny rock, or when weight shifts and the chair answers back. One cause of wobble can be uneven leg contact. This can come from floor unevenness, or from slight warp. This may vary. The chair may rock a little at first. Then, later, the wobble can become constant. A chair can feel different depending on the floor under it. Another cause can be loosening joints. Joint loosening can come from drying and repeated load. This may vary. At first the sign can be a gentle squeak. Later the frame can rack side to side. Racking is a side-to-side looseness. It is felt when the chair no longer holds its shape as firmly. Loose fasteners can also lead to wobble. Loose fasteners can come from repeated small movement. Early on it can be a faint wobble. Later it can be stronger wobble, with small clicks. Clicks can be the sound of fasteners shifting slightly. This may vary, but it is a simple pattern. Small movement, then small sound. Sounds can come and go. A squeak appears, then disappears, then returns. A creak can appear where the seat meets the frame. At first it may happen only when leaning. Later it may happen during normal sitting. This may vary. There can also be a small give in the back support over time. Back support looseness can begin as slight give, then become visible movement. This may vary. Some of these changes can be calmed for a while. Fasteners can be tightened at calm intervals. A missing floor pad can be replaced. Felt or glide replacements can be used when drag changes. This may vary. Sometimes these small steps bring the chair back to quiet movement. Sometimes the sound returns quickly. This is not always the same. Worn glides or casters, if present, can also change sound and movement. Floor grit can make rolling rough. Hair and grit can collect. The chair can begin to drag instead of glide. This may vary. A small cleaning can help for a while, and then the chair is used again. Some wobble comes from the room, not the chair. A floor can be uneven. A chair can meet a different patch of floor and feel less steady. This may vary. Sometimes a small shift in position changes the wobble, and sometimes it does not. Wobble and sound are usually introduced gradually. They do not arrive all at once. They arrive in small steps. They become part of the chair's background story. Then the chair is used again. Pulled out, pushed back in. Supporting, then resting. Recap: it shifts a little, then it settles. Another small detail is Chapter 27, Material-Specific Aging Paths. Different materials show time in different ways. Wood can show dents and finish change. Metal can show chips and rub points. Plastic can show scuffs and stress lines. Fabric, when present, can hold dust and show abrasion. This may vary, but the pattern is quiet. Time leaves small traces. On wood, the finish can dull over time. A small dent can appear from an impact. A dropped object can leave a small impression. Later the fibers can feel compressed, and an edge can feel a little rough. This may vary. In wood and engineered wood, water rings or swelling can appear. If a wet cloth is left or a spill sits, a slight raised area can show up. Later it can become permanent distortion. So drying after damp wiping matters. Damp, then dry. Engineered wood can also delaminate. Delamination is when layers separate. It can start as an edge line, then become a larger separation. This may vary. Moisture and stress can play a role. So soaking cleaners can degrade it faster. A gentle approach helps, and drying helps. Warping can also appear in wood. Warping can begin as a subtle twist. Later it can become a persistent wobble. This may vary. How much this happens can depend on conditions. This is not always the same. On metal, coating wear can show as small chips. A chip can begin as a tiny edge lift. Later it can spread. If moisture meets a damaged coating on steel, rust spotting can appear as a small orange dot. Later rust can spread and flake. This may vary. Keeping coating intact helps, and drying after cleaning helps. Metal frames can also bend. A slight lean can appear after uneven load or impact. Later the chair may no longer align, or it may rock. This may vary. Some bends return after straightening, and then the chair continues to lean again. On plastic, scuffing can be common. A chair is moved, and contact repeats. Scuffs can appear as dull areas. Plastic can also crack at stress points. A hairline line can appear. Later there can be an audible crack and movement. This may vary. How cold conditions affect this? This may vary. Plastic can also creep, where shape slowly changes under long-term load. The seat can feel lower over time. Later it can feel like a permanent sag. This may vary. The chair is still used, but the feel changes in small steps. Fabric, when present, can hold dust. It can show abrasion from repeated contact. Abrasion can begin as fuzzing. Later it can become thinning and tears. This may vary. Padding, when present, can compress. At first it may feel slightly flatter. Later it can become a permanent indentation. This may vary. Odor retention, when present, can also be part of aging. Absorbed oils and damp can leave a mild smell near the surface. Later the smell can remain after cleaning. This may vary. Drying fully after cleaning helps reduce this. Damp, then dry. Through all of these paths, the chair remains a chair. It supports the same basic way. It is pulled out and pushed back in. It simply looks and feels slightly different over time. Recap: time shows itself, quietly. Now we can move on. Chapter 28: Quiet misuse patterns and their costs. Misuse is often small and unplanned. It happens in a hurry, then stops. The chair may still look fine afterward, but the chair remembers it through looseness and marks. One common misuse pattern is leaning back on two legs. A chair is tipped back. Weight shifts. Then the chair returns to 4 points again. This may vary, but this action concentrates stress. It can speed joint loosening. It can make wobble appear sooner. Another misuse pattern is standing or stepping on the chair. A chair is used as a step helper. A person stands briefly, then steps down. This may vary. Standing or stepping can degrade the chair faster. It can also lead to bent frames, cracks, or looseness, depending on material and design. This may vary. Dragging instead of lifting is another pattern. Repeated dragging without pads can degrade the chair quickly. It can increase noise. It can scratch floors. It can scuff the chair's legs. The same scraping path repeats on the floor, and marks can appear in the same arcs. Overloading with stacked items can happen. A chair can become a temporary holding place for items. It can hold objects for hours without changing. This may vary, but stacking heavy items can change stress at joints and contact points. It can speed loosening. It can speed distortion. This may vary. Using the chair as a step helper can also bring impacts. The chair is moved quickly. It bumps a wall or bumps a table edge. The finish can chip. A tiny edge lift can appear. Later the chip can spread. This may vary. Some misuse is simply rough movement. A chair is dropped or bumped hard. Impacts can cause dents. Impacts can cause finish chipping. Impacts can cause a tiny lift at an edge of coating. Later that lift can spread into a larger chip. This may vary. These actions often concentrate stress. The chair may still look normal from a distance, but small changes begin inside the routine. A squeak may appear, then disappear, then return. A wobble may appear, then be ignored, then be noticed again during still moments. Misuse is not always a big event. It is usually small. It happens, then it is over, and the chair returns to being a chair, supporting one person at a practical height above the floor, then resting again. Recap: small misuse, small changes. Another small detail is Chapter 29, Repair and Maintenance, kept simple. Many chair repairs are small. They are calm actions. Tighten, replace, wipe, dry. These small steps can extend daily steadiness. Tightening fasteners is one simple repair. Loose fasteners can cause faint wobble. Later they can cause stronger wobble and small clicks. So tightening can return the chair to a calmer feel. This may vary. Sometimes tightening holds for a long time. Sometimes the wobble returns quickly. Threads can strip or holes can enlarge. And tightening no longer holds. Replacing floor pads is another simple repair. A missing pad can increase noise. A missing pad can lead to floor scratches. A missing pad can change how the chair glides. Replacing pads early helps keep movement gentle. It also helps keep the chair balanced on the floor. A small part, a big daily effect. Felt or glide replacements can also be used when drag changes. A chair that once slid easily can begin to drag. This may vary. A small change in glide can return the movement to a softer pattern. Pulled out, pushed back in. Quiet again. Cleaning sticky spots can be part of maintenance. A mild soap solution can be used sparingly for sticky residue. Then it is wiped clean. Then it is dried. Drying after damp wiping helps joints and finishes. The chair is cleaned and it is used again. For fabric surfaces, when present, care can include gentle vacuuming and small spot cleaning with a mild cleaner. This may vary. Fabric care is not always the same from chair to chair, but gentle contact helps reduce abrasion and dust build up. It also helps prevent stains set in. Stain setting can happen when cleaning is delayed. A faint mark becomes persistent discoloration. This may vary. Some repairs have limits. Touch-up markers are sometimes used on small finish marks. This may vary. Sometimes the touch-up blends, and sometimes it remains visible. This is not always the same. A chair can still work even with a visible touch-up. It is still used again. Small glue repairs can be attempted on some loosened joints. Then cure time matters. This may vary. Some repairs last. Some do not. A chair may accept a repair for a while, then need another, and the decision remains practical. Maintenance is not meant to make the chair new again. It is meant to keep daily use smooth. Less wobble, less drag, less noise, small steadiness returning, so the chair can continue to do its basic job. Recap: tightened, steadied, used again. Now we can move on. Chapter 30: The spare chair roll. A chair can shift roles without being removed. It becomes the spare chair. It is still present, just used less. Often it is moved to a corner or near a wall. It may be in a storage area. It may be in a lower demand room, like a bedroom or hallway. This may vary. The chair's new place is quieter. It waits longer between uses. A spare chair is often used only during visitors. It sits quietly until someone needs it. Then it is pulled out, used, and returned. The chair becomes background again. A spare chair can also become a holding place for items. A bag rests there. Clothing rests over the back support. Small objects gather on the seat. The chair can hold objects for hours without changing. Then later the objects are removed, and the chair is a chair again. A chair can also migrate to another room and stay there quietly. This may vary. It might move once, and then stay. Then the room learns the chair's new place, and it becomes part of a new routine. Pulled out, pushed back in a different corner of the home. Because the chair is used less, dust can settle more often. Dust settles on top edges first, and a chair left in a corner can collect that dust quietly. The underside can be cleaned even less in this roll. This may vary. The chair can look fine at a glance, while the floor contact points collect grit. This may vary. A spare chair can still be stable, and still make small sounds when it is finally moved. A squeak that was not noticed for weeks can return. A wobble can be felt again, then ignored again. This is not always the same, but the spare chair roll often stretches time. Changes happen, but they are less noticed, because the chair is touched less. This change is slow. One day it is used less. Then it is used mostly for objects. Then it is used only sometimes. The chair becomes quiet background again. Still here, still a chair. Still able to support one person when asked. Recap: still here, just used less. Another small detail is Chapter 31: Replacement decisions without urgency. Replacement is often a quiet choice. A chair still works, but not as well. It becomes less pleasant to use. The routine becomes less smooth. One reason can be persistent wobble that returns quickly after tightening. Fasteners are tightened. The chair feels steadier. Then the wobble returns. This may vary, but when the same issue repeats, it becomes tiring. Another reason can be cracks that grow or reappear. A small crack can become a larger crack over time. This may vary. A crack can be seen in wood, plastic, or in a connection point. When the crack changes, the chair feels less trustworthy, even if it still holds weight for now. Frame distortion can also lead to replacement. A chair may no longer sit flat. It may lean. It may rock. It may feel like it has a permanent twist. This may vary. When a chair cannot sit flat, daily use becomes less calm. Sometimes the issue is surfaces. A chair can become hard to clean without leaving residue or odor. A chair can be clean and still feel sticky in one spot. A chair can hold odors, especially when fabric is present. This may vary. Odor retention can come from absorbed oils and damp. It can begin as a mild smell near the surface. Later it can remain after cleaning. This may vary. Sometimes wiping and drying helps. And sometimes the smell returns. This is not always the same. Comfort can also change. Padding can compress when present. A seat can feel uneven. A back support can loosen. A chair can feel different than it used to feel. This may vary. The body notices. Without needing to explain. Matching sets can make replacement a special kind of decision. Sometimes only one chair is the problem chair. One chair wobbles more. One chair squeaks more. One chair has the missing pad again and again. Then the decision becomes: replace one chair or accept the mismatch. This may vary. Some people keep the chair and move it to a spare roll. Some let it go. Chairs are often replaced rarely. There is an average lifespan range of about 3 to 20 years. Depending on use level, build method, and environment. This may vary. Some chairs last on the longer end. Some on the shorter end. And the home adapts either way. Replacement does not have to feel urgent. It is often gradual. Wobble again. Squeak again. Clean again. Then the same issue returns. Not urgent, just repeated. And eventually the chair is set aside. Recap: not urgent, just gradual. Now we can move on. Chapter 32, End of Life and Quiet Disappearance. Chairs often leave a home in simple ways. They are carried out. They are set down somewhere else. And the home adjusts to the empty spot. Sometimes the chair is donated. Donation can happen when the chair is stable and clean. The chair leaves one room and becomes part of another. This is a quiet transfer. The chair continues to support and then rest. Sometimes the chair is kept in storage for later. Stored just in case. Then later becomes a long time. This may vary. The chair remains a quiet object that is not used, but not removed. The decision stays open. The chair waits in a darker place. Dust settling on top edges first. Silence all around it. Sometimes the chair is set at curbside bulk pickup, where offered. It is carried out. It is placed down. Then it is gone. This may vary. The chair spot inside the home becomes empty, and the room stays calm. Sometimes the chair is broken down partially, then discarded in parts. Mixed materials are harder to recycle as a whole object. This may vary. Disassembly effort can decide what actually gets recycled. This may vary. Metal can be separated more easily than mixed surfaces. And metal is often recyclable if separated. Wood may be reused, repaired, or downcycled. This may vary. Finishes and adhesives can affect recycling routes. This may vary. Plastic recycling depends on plastic type and local acceptance. This may vary. These details depend on where a person lives and what systems are available. This may vary. End of life can also be a slow fade. The chair becomes the spare, then becomes storage, then becomes something in the way, then becomes something to remove. The steps do not have to be dramatic. They are small, practical steps. Carried away, and the room stays calm. The space where the chair used to be is simple. It is just space. The floor looks a little different there. There may be repeated movement marks there. This may vary. Then the room becomes normal again. A new walking path forms. And the home continues. Recap: carried away, and the room stays calm. Another small detail is Chapter 33, gentle recap loop: clean, mark, wobble, decide. The chair's later life can be described as cycles. Clean, use, mark, clean again. Tighten, steady, use again. Nothing changes all at once. The chair becomes older in small steps. We can return to cleaning. Dust settles on the top edges first. Dry dusting first with a soft cloth. A light damp wipe for sealed surfaces, then a dry wipe. A mild soap solution used sparingly for sticky residue. Then wiped clean. Then dried. Damp, then dry. The chair is cleaned, and it is used again. We can return to the places people forget. The underside is cleaned less often than the visible surfaces. Floor contact points can hold grit. A chair can look clean while still holding grit on floor contact points. This may vary. Then drag changes. Then noise changes. Then a floor pad is noticed missing. A small part, a big daily effect. We can return to the first marks. A scratch from grit and repeated contact. A scuff near the legs. A dull patch where hands touch. A small squeak that comes and goes. A missing floor pad. A small mark appears without drama. It is noticed briefly. Then the chair is used again. We can return to wobble and sound. Uneven leg contact from floor unevenness. Or slight warp. Joint loosening from drying and repeated load. Loose fasteners from repeated small movement. A faint wobble. Then a stronger wobble. Small clicks. A squeak that appears, disappears, returns. A creak where the seat meets the frame. Then a small tightening routine. Then a calmer weak. Then wobble again. This may vary, but the rhythm is familiar. We can return to material aging. Wood showing dents and finish dulling. Metal showing chips and rub points. Plastic showing scuffs and stress lines. Fabric, when present, holding dust and showing abrasion. Padding, when present, compressing. Time shows itself, quietly. And the chair remains a chair through it all. We can return to the spare chair roll. Move to a corner or wall. Used only during visitors. Used as a holding place for items. Used less, but still present. Dust settling more often. The chair becoming background again. We can return to the calm replacement choice. Persistent wobble that returns quickly after tightening. Cracks that grow or reappear. Frame distortion that no longer sits flat. Surfaces that no longer clean without leaving residue or odor. This may vary. The choice is often not urgent. Just gradual. A quiet decision that arrives after repetition. And after that, the chair can leave in a simple way. Donated if stable and clean. Stored for later. Set out for pickup. Broken down in parts. Carried away. And the room stays calm. Recap, clean, mark, steady, decide, and stay calm.